Now there's a few more things that I want to show off here in Photopea. And one of them is blurring background that we saw earlier, and then filling in these empty areas. So with the background and blurring it, you can actually blur certain areas that are selected. So what I mean by that is, why don't we try to select the background area of this image here? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my lasso select, and I'm just going to drag freehandly, or excuse me, using freehand. I'm just going to drag it best I can around the lady's head, and then just have it swoop around to be right here. Now, because I'm trying to get to the background here, let me actually make this a bit more tighter. Let's see here. Great. It's good enough just to show it off. And then remember that I'm trying to select the background. So if I have her selected right now, how would I select the background? Well, remember that in the select, there's this option called inverse. And what inverse does is it selects everything that isn't selected. So because our forefront lady is selected, if I select the inverse, it will select everything that isn't her. Now, how do I blur this background? Well, while I have this selected, I can go to Image, Adjustments. Is it easy? Did I select the right one? Oh, my bad. I keep confusing myself. If you go to Filter and Blur, excuse me for that. So after I have everything selected, I can go to Filter and Blur. And there's a bunch of options here for blurring, but what I usually go with is the Gaussian blur. So I'm just going to select that type of blur. Him. And now you can see that I can actually go ahead and make the radius a bit bigger. You see here I can make it super blurry so it doesn't look anything normal. I can make it not blurry at all so it's the normal type. But I think I might just make it a bit more blurry. Maybe like at a 4.9. And of course if I hit OK, and I want to select and deselect to unselect it, I've now kind of just blurred my background of this image here. So again, to blur your background, you can just go ahead and select an area that you would like, and then do the filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And again, it doesn't have to be the background. I can actually go ahead and blur her shoulder right here. I could select her shoulder. I could go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. And now you'll notice that it's actually a bit more blurry than the background there, but it works to the same effect. So that's one way you can go ahead and blur. And again, if you are using these for your capstone images, it's completely fine to add in a few effects that you like or anything that you've learned as well. And this would help with just kind of touching up an image and making it look that much different. Awesome. Now, there's one more thing that I would like to show off before I go too far into the mask and channels. Let's see here. Sure. And it's this type of feature called auto blend. So let me grab an image really quick of a different face. And I can upload this for us as well. But again, this is just going to be anything that you would like to use. Let me pull up an image really quick. And I can upload for this, or I can upload this as well after it gets to it. But I'm just going to drag into my other Photopea area here. Let's see here, a different image. Let's see. There we go. So I just looked up a face of a woman really quick. And what I'm going to do here is a few things. So I wanted to show off this tool that's right here called the auto blend feature. And what auto blend does is what the name implies. It makes it so that it will automatically blend the type of thing, or excuse me, the image that you're looking at. Now, if we're familiar, I'll show us a different way to do it later. But using our selection tools is how we usually deleted the background. If you remember with the ukulele from Project 3, we used the magic wand to delete the background of an image that we didn't like the background being in. So I'm going to select magic wand, and then I'm just going to select, whoops, I have to right click and rasterize it first. And then let me just delete a few of the images from the background here. Nice. And now I have this image here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out, it might look a bit odd, but I'm going to try to replace the faces here between these two images here. And I'm just doing this to show off why auto blend will be useful. So what I'll do is I'm going to use lasso select. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut around her face right here. It might be something like from a movie or anything too. You can do this with actors and stuff too if you ever wanted to try it out. But after I have her face selected, what I can do is actually move it around from here too. So now I have her face alone here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this eraser tool. We haven't used this tool too often, but it's similar like a brush. And I can actually go ahead and erase the rest of the layer that was there. So now she has nothing left. And now you'll notice that I have this face that I can go ahead and move around. It might look a little odd because the images are kind of different. But what I can do now is I can go to Edits and then Free Transform. And I can try to make this face a bit larger. Of course, these sides might be a little bit off just because they're so different. And again, this is going to look a little weird, but I just wanted to show it off to everyone that it's a feature that you can use in Photopea. And once I have this selected, now you'll notice that the faces aren't aligned at all. Like there's a big difference between them. So what I can do is I can try to select these two images at once. So what I did there is I selected my background layer, and then holding shift on my keyboard, I selected the other layer above it. And then I went into, or excuse me, what I'm going to try to do now is this thing called auto blend, which is talked about here to do the face swap. And I can go to edits, and while I have my two layers selected, I could try out my auto blend. And you'll notice, of course, it looks really odd, but you'll see that the face that was a very different color and tone, when auto blended, kind of went into it. So there's something going on the right side over here, just because it's a different image. So what I can try to do is, using her selected face, maybe move it over here a bit more. And then again, with the two layers selected, edit and auto blend, I'm able to kind of get this face. I mean, it looks very weird, of course, but it's just a way to show off that Photopea has the power to kind of blend together layers if you wanted to combine them. So now these two images were very different, and I tried combining them for us. I made a bit of a weird looking monstrosity thing. But of course, this is one thing you could do in Photopea in order, if you wanted to swap out faces or kind of enhance an image, you can use auto blend to do that for you as well. Awesome. And that